that is joined today for the webinar session. Hope all of you guys are doing well and staying healthy and safe during the pandemic situation. So just want to begin with the PayPack updating your employee master files effectively webinar session today. So just want to thank everyone once more for taking the time to join the webinar session during your working criteria today. So let's just go through. So going through the session today, you will be going through the employee master process in the PayPack system. And plus the, as you can see with the diagram below, we'll be going through the process of updating our master files in an effective manner. So as you can see, we'll be starting with the employee master file, employee switches, optional fields, and then reports, right? So then through this, we will be getting the information on how to enter employee master file information, how to enter designations and grade levels, etc. And how to create new fields for your employee master information. Like for an example, like if you want to create new date fields or maybe new like emergency contact names and numbers, we can create that. And finally, generation of reports in terms of employee audit details, master details, and viewing reports, depending on their maybe designations and hierarchy levels, right? So going through each of these points, if you guys have any questions that you want to stop me at any moment and you guys want to check, like if you have any questions, please do let me know so then I could stop and then answer your questions if required. Okay, so let's begin. So let's start at the employee master file. So you can see that I have started to view the employee master information. So if there is, are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, can see, Ravi.
Okay. So let me just start by viewing an employee that I've already saved in the employee master information. You can see there are currently tabs that are available in our system, such as the personal details, designation, salary details, and tax optional details. So those are the tabs that I'll be going through in the employee master information. So as you can see at the personal details section that I have already entered sample information of the employee. You can see that I've entered in the initials, phone name, middle name, name with initial, NIC number, address details, and fixed phone numbers, and preferred name and last name, and other various information. So basically, depending on the information that you have entered here, these particular details will be the ones that will be showing in your reports. Basically, your pay slips, detail summaries, your EPF reports, tax reports, those particular information. So basically, if you're thinking like what type of information, like like specifically which content will the data will be showing on your report, it will be basically at the name with initial section. So basically, if there's any details that you have entered here, this will be shown on your report section. Understood? So then moving on to our next tab, it's the designation levels. So basically at the designation levels here is basically the information that you need to enter to ensure that particular employee is showing in your report at the correct section. Let's say the correct organization level section, yeah, and your employee switches section, right? So most of the times that whenever you are saving a particular employee into your organization level criteria, it should always be at the last level. So to confirm that you're saving that particular employee in the final level, it's always easy to see it through here, or in case if you do know it, then it's fine. But then just to give you a quick refresh, so you can see that I have created my main company over here and then a sample company. So after I click on this, I have created departments and sub-departments. So at the final sub-department is where you save the employee, basically the fourth level. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the fourth level. So seeing the employee that I've saved him in this human resource department at the final level, that is where your employee is saved. So basically only if you have saved it at the final level, that particular employee will be shown in your report, right? So like when you're like for further information, like, if you want to view particular employees based upon the hierarchy level, so to make sure that is shown, you have to save them in the final level, right? And then you can find the employment types. So you can see that depending on on the system that we have deployed for you guys, you can see that in my one that I've given it as permanent, temporary, and contact, confirmation status, confirmed or probation. Then you can give out the reporting to which particular person it is reporting for that particular employee. So like I said, like hierarchy level wise, right? So if I wanted to view a person that I've saved under that particular hierarchy, if I click on this, as you can see, that particular person that I've saved, the sample information is shown, right? That is that particular example. And then you can find out your employee grades and employee switches. So you can see that, I've already given employee grades, designations, payroll category, employment type, staff category, nationality, and religion. So this is basically the switches that I've created in my system here. So basically, if we are trying to create any new designation switch, new employment switches, we can only go up to 7. So if you want to create, maybe if you guys are using only maybe 3 or 4, then you can move up to another 3, right? So you can only go up to 7 switches. So I will show you how to create maybe a new grade or designation moving forward at the employer switches area. So let me just move on to the next one at the salary details area. So you can see that I have entered basic salary details for the employee. So you can see I've given the current basic salary. And let's say maybe if you're given a new basic salary for the employee, that means after an increment, you will find the previous basic salary below over here, right? So after that particular information, the basic salary has been given, you can find the tax group. So basically any tax group information that you have entered over, that we have given over here, you can select that. So currently I've given this as monthly. If it's yearly, you can give it like that. If it's expatriate, you can enter that information, or even special tax, or even no tax. Tax category is also available, either if it's normal, expertise, or director. And then the status. Basically, if you have given the status of active of that particular employee, that information will be shown in your report. Basically, if you want to process your salary for that particular employee, or if you want it to show in your time attendance system, you can make sure that particular person is active. Or maybe if it is task that is only attendance records, you can give it as that. But if it's only for payback wise, you can give it as active. And for your resigned employees for final payments, you can give it for this. Retired, in the sense you can give it for retired, suspended, or even no pay leave or transfer. So the statuses are given. Then you can give out the status join. So that means the date of join of the particular employee. Then the date of confirmation. By clicking this area, you can give out the date of confirmation, date of resignation, date of termination, designation change date, and transfer date. After giving these details, you can give out the EPF details. So you can give the employee EPF number, an ETF number, and then give a third party detail. So currently I have created this code for EPF and ETF details. So you can see that I've already given the EPF and ETF number, and then the bank details. So you can see I've selected a particular bank here for that particular branch code. So as you know that we have already created the third party details already over here. So it's just amount of selecting the bank pertaining to that particular branch, and then giving out the account number. After giving out the account number, make sure that you give out the maximum amount over here. So currently I've given it as 0, so that we can go up to any maximum amount of the salary to be paid for the employee, meaning to the amount that you've given, and then you can save it. Right. So after you save the employee, you can get the data modified successfully button over here. Just say for an example, like if you want to check out the tax optional details, you can also see them over here. Right. So then that's basically after updating your employee. That means the schedules each month, so that the cumulative tax amount and the previous total for tax amount will be updated over here with the cumulative total for tax. But basically, after entering the personal details, the designation, and salary details, you have basically entered all the employee information over here, right? So then moving on, we can go on to the employment switches area. Like I said, like if we ever want to create new grades or designations and payroll categories, or basically what you have from the implemented side aside from yours, we can create it from here. So is there any questions pertaining to the employee information before we move on to the employee switches? I guess. Okay, so I guess there is no questions right now, but you can stop me anytime. Like I said before, you can stop me anytime and you can ask me if you have any questions. Moving on forward, even at the end also, you can still ask me questions, or even from the beginning, that's also perfectly fine. So I'll just move on to the designations area. So basically over here, like I said, you get 7 employee switches, right? So if we want to create a new, let's say for an example, a new designation, after coming to the employee switches area, you can go to your switch details, select the switch name over here, and then click on designation. So you can see basically if you want to create a new designation, you have to go right at the bottom. So you can see that I have created the codes here, the description, that means already the particular codes and descriptions of the designations that I've already completed. So let's say for an example, I want to create a new one. So you can see that up to D134, it's already created. So if I want to create a new one, basically all I have to do is select D135, right? And then say uh, external auditor or something, for an example. So you can do that, save, right? So you can see I've already saved this as D135 external auditor. So make sure that if you are ever following to create, now normally what I have noticed is many new designations or what new categories or such pertaining to the designation switches. It normally you would contact us through the CSE unit and we would create these particular designations, right? But just for your information, you can also do it by yourself here and by just following the code and then adding the description. As you can see, like, it's always best to follow the code level that I've done it. So as you can see, after D135, I created D135 and gave us the description and saved it. That's it. So let's go to the employee master file and see what I have created. So if I go to designation and if I go to the designation category and go right down, there you go. You can see external auditor that I've created over here. So I can even select this and save it right now and give it as external auditor if I want, right? So, so if I wanted to create a different one, let's say another switch, sorry, a different switch detail, let's say even for now, like I did for designation, if I wanted to create one for religion, even I could create it here. Just give out R008 and give out a new description and save it. And like such, it'll move over there. Now, just for another. Okay. You can say over here as right? Save it. It's just an example. Go to my employee profile, designation, religion, and see it's there. So you can always use it like that. Basically, by creating a new designation switch detail within either employee grade or designation or whatever, after saving it, it will always show within the section over here, right? So just a small tip when using the employee master file, I've noticed like everyone either selects the employee code or give out the preferred name or employee name, right? So if you guys are okay with that, you can always use that. But if you know the employee number, you can always give it over here and click on tab. So then it will show over here. And but if you're also comfortable with this area, that is also perfectly fine, right? And so that is the method of creating the new employee designation switches, or let's say the employee switches area. So if you guys have any questions on pertaining to the employee switches area, you can uh, ask me from here. So before I move on to the optional detail criteria, you can ask me any questions from here. Right. So it's fine. Let's move on to the optional fields area. So let's say, for an example, at the employee master information, right? And you're the, let's say, you're looking for a new field. Let's say employee like emergency contact name or something, right? And so basically at the tax optional details, you can get your optional fields over here and you can create. So basically, if you see over here, I've already created certain optional fields. Like you can see, I've created a Boolean field basically to mention if this particular person is either eligible or not eligible for certain criteria in the system. So you can see that I've already created this particular Boolean field saying 5,000 not eligible or 3,000 not eligible. So depending on the formula that you have created onto the system, I have mentioned over here saying if this particular person is either allowed for this particular 5,000 allowance. So if it's not allowed for this 5,000 not eligible, I can give her the tick here and say he's not eligible, right? Or another example you can see is that I've entered an emergency contact number. Now let's say, for an example, I want to create an emergency contact name at my string field section. I can go over here, master information, organization details, and optional fields. So you can see that the optional fields have already been listed down here. You can see that for Boolean, that means for selecting like button options, you can get on up to 7 options, right? 7 details, like 7 optional fields for the Boolean data, and 2 data fields. 3 numeric data, let's say for like emergency contact numbers or other various numbering options that you want, and then finally 8 string data fields. So basically, like to enter information. So I'm going to create here emergency contact name, right? And save it. Okay. So by doing so, I can go back to employee profile, select the employee, tax optional detail, and see you can get the emergency contact name, right? So I can say whoever the emergency contact name person is, save it and be okay. So if I want to view that and see if that particular information is still available, you can see it's there. Emergency contact name is there, emergency contact number, and then whatever criteria fields that you want extra, you can create them from here. So like I said, string fields, you can create up to 8 string fields of information that you want to create here, 2 date fields, 3 numeric fields, and up to 7 Boolean fields, right? So with that, you can create up to that, and you can, and these type of information, like I said, at the board optional fields, you can still view them in certain reports, such as the employee listing report. Those information can be viewed from there after creating the optional data fields that you have entered over here. Okay, so then moving on. Oh yes, one more thing. So like I said, for the hierarchy level, you can remember that I said basically at the hierarchy level, if you select them from here, you can see the particular employee information that you have viewed over here. Let's say for an example, instead of that you want to view it by employee switches area, you can go here, select the employee grade, and select executive after giving out the hierarchy level that you need to select, and you can see. So on this hierarchy level, if there's any executives, you can see that the employees are showing. So you can also view it in that method as well, right? So that's at the optional level fields. So I'll be moving on to the report generation area. So if you have any questions moving on to the before I move on to the report generation area field, so you can let me know if there's any questions. Let's say pertaining from the beginning on that it doesn't matter. So even if it's from the employee master field or even at the designation area field or at the um, optional field section, right? So I'll just give a few minutes. Fine. So let's move on. So basically, like I said, basically any information that we have given already over here at the personal details section or at the designation area, salary details or tax optional details, we can view them in our reports, basically a master data detailed report. So I'm going to start with the report section. So you can see that when I go to my reports, audit reports and master changes, I can view the changes that I have done for the particular from and to date that I'll be going to be selecting any changes pertaining to the employee master data, right? I'm going to show it. I've selected from June 1st to June 23rd, and I'm going to show any employees that have made changes to. Right. So you can see that I have actually made changes for this particular employee. So basically by viewing this report, you will be able to see the additions and the changes of the particular employee that I've done. So additions meaning any new employees that I've created into the system. Changes meaning any changes that I've done for the employee. So I'm just going to show you the method how I got the report once more. Go to reports, audit reports, master changes. Fine. So by looking at this report, you can see by additions that I've created a new employee. By changes, you can see that, at the date of join, I have given out the changes of the date of join. You can see like previously I've given it as April 1st of 2017 and then change it to June 14th of 2017. You can see both of the changes highlighted. And you can see that I've also performed changes at the hierarchy level and even the basic salary. And particularly in this particular report, you can see that there are other information such as date joins, basic salary, tax group, user ID, and date. So depending on the particular person that has logged into the system, you can see who has performed the particular changes and the date, as to when this particular change has occurred. So with this particular report, we can find out what are the changes that are done to that particular date, right? So just a small information when you're viewing these particular reports, you can also see that, by employee selection simple, you can always give out either to what, to maybe that specific employee if you're generating the report, or by employee selection advanced, you can also select to that particular department only, right? If I select that, you can see that is all automatically selected that particular employee from that department. Either way, you can do it like that, or by maybe selecting this department, and you can also select by designation switch. So I can give it like this by executive and select OK and still view the report. See, that is another small tip of viewing reports that you don't have to select maybe just that particular employee. If you want to select by using the employee selection advanced method, you can always view that particular hierarchy level for that particular employee, or by even selecting that designation switch after selecting the hierarchy level, right? That is for the employee master data change report. So if you have any questions pertaining to the employee audit master change report, you can always ask. If not, I'll be moving on to the next report that will be going with the employee master file. So like I said that after entering certain information into our employee master file, we can always view them by report wise, right? So if you want to do that, you can always go to reports, audit reports, and select employee listing report, right? So by selecting the employee listing report, you can see that any information that we have created, that means any field basically that we have created at the employee master is shown over here on our left hand side. You can see. So you can always basically you can always select, address 1, 2, 3, and let's say date of join or basic salary and etc. You can view, but remember that you can only select up to 6 fields over here and view the report. Okay. So by doing this, you can view the report and you can see what are the information that has been selected. Okay. But just say for an example, now if you do this, you are going to view all employees in the system basically. Reason why is you have not selected the status. So just in case if I do select the status, okay, I created selected more than 5 or 6. So if I take the status and if I go to the finders section, you can see that I can always go to the status and select active, right? And only view active employees in our report. Or even if you want, you can always select inactive, leave, retired, resign, those type of information is already there. But just in case if you only want to view the active employees, you can do that over here, right? So I'm going to select the active employee and then just select this our sample employee, right? And then show the report. Right, so you can see the employee information has been shown, but let me just 1 second, shown for everyone. Right, so you can see with the details that I've selected, you can see I've got my employee name, address 1, address 2, date of join, basic salary, and the active status. So you can see that basically the active employee is shown over here. So if I just say if I don't need to just select only that particular employee, I can just still refresh, go to criteria and address 1, 2, 3, and let's say what you call date of join, right? And just show my report. I will get all the employees over here basically, right? So that means now if you can see at the date of join area, I mean, if you depending on the section that you have selected, you will get every single employee in the system. That means even retired, resign, people who have left, every single employee is going to show. That's the reason why I selected the status over here. So then I can select basically the active employee. But just say for an example, if you want to select maybe active and retired employees, so you can just select that as well, active and retired, right? Or if it's only my active employee that I need to select, then I can always give that particular information on it. I'm just selecting this for my purpose. If it's not required, you can always just select it for everyone and show for only active employees like such. That means just by selecting this date of join, I'm just selecting the information that I require. Right, just say active and show. I'll basically get everyone. Right, that means from all basically the whole hierarchy level, everyone's status, basically any of the information that I've selected like name, address 1, 2, and date of join, basic salary and status. So by doing so, always remember any report that I have selected, basically even the audit report, right? At the audit report, you can always download a report. So you can always click on the green button option over here and let's say desktop, you can always save it as an Excel, or you can go to your export report section and you can always select even the Excel option over here, either data only or the normal Excel 97,000 Excel format or even PDF format, and select the selection where you want to save the particular report and save it. Right. So by doing so, you'll be able to view that particular report that you have saved in the system from the data that you have selected, right? So those are the details pertaining to the employee master file such as the like going back again, going through the section over here. We have basically gone through the employee master file, employee switches, optional fields, and reports. And I hope going through this, we have got a little bit of information by entering how to enter employee master file information, how to enter new designations and grade levels, how to create a new field for employee master information through the optional fields, and generation of reports in terms of the audit details, master details, and even, basically the two reports that we have selected, like viewing reports depending on their designation levels and hierarchy levels, right? So if you guys have any questions regarding these sections that I've covered through the employee master file area, you can ask me right now. You can start from the beginning if you want. Even if you want to start from the beginning, even at the end, you can still ask me those particular questions. That's perfectly fine. But if that is all from, if you don't have any questions, but in future, if you have certain information that you want to ask me or anybody in our CSU unit, you can please feel free to contact us at any time pertaining to the current webinar session that we have. And hopefully in the future, we'll be having more webinar sessions pertaining to salary details and other various sections. So hopefully I'll be meeting you in the future. And if you guys have no other questions that you want to discuss, then I will be concluding the webinar session. I hope you guys are doing well, and hope you guys will be doing well in the future, and then we'll be able to meet in the future as well during this particular pandemic situation. And okay, thank you, and hopefully we'll meet up for the next webinar. Right? Okay, thank you.